Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. Of all the quotes I have shared with you this week, quotes of great scholars and theologians and preachers who are each talking about prayer and lifting up aspects of it for us, I found many of their quotes to be insightful and taught us much about prayer. However, I don't think I found one that tickled me like this one from Derek Prince. He said, I do not read that Jesus ever actually taught his disciples how to preach, but he did teach them how to pray. That so simply and succinctly points to the importance of prayer, doesn't it? It also seems to have something to say to we preachers who place so much emphasis on our sermons and not nearly enough on our prayers. All week long we have been describing prayer, but not defining it. Prayer is one of those things that is a bit like trying to hold Jell-O in your hands. You never quite get a hold of it all. Today, for our final day on this topic, the quotes I have gathered seem to say something about the effect of prayer. First, let me share a famous quote by Martin Luther, which you may have heard, and which speaks of sincerely praying in trust of God. He said, I have held many things in my hands and have lost them all. But whatever I have placed in God's hands, that I still possess. When we cling so tenaciously to life, trying to do things, to have things on our own, it all tends to end up with us empty-handed and bereft. Luther makes the point that when we entrust things to God, sincerely entrust things to God, situations, concerns, worries, when we truly give them over in trust, things seem to work out well. It's so hard to pray with that kind of trust. We so want to control things ourselves. Nevertheless, maybe this is when we need to remember the old mantra of let go and let God. If we are talking about the effect of prayer, maybe these next two quotes speak about how our prayers have an effect, but that often that effect is on us. Leonard Ravenhill said, Notice, we never pray for folks we gossip about, and we never gossip about the folk for whom we pray. For prayer is the great deterrent. And William Law said, There is nothing that makes us love a man as much as praying for him. Both of them are right. Prayer for another person changes how we view that other person. I wonder in our world so divided politically if it might not turn down the rhetoric and vitriol among us if we sincerely prayed not just for the politician we like, but also for the candidate and politician we don't like or agree with. We should pray that they lead us God's way, certainly, but I think this also means that we should pray for them, and for their well-being. I think this too will be hard for us, but it may be the path to unity and compassion. Back in the summer, I did a whole week of things said by Danish theologian and philosopher Søren Kierkegaard. He addressed prayer too, and he said something very profound. Prayer does not change God, but it changes the people who pray. I have often heard this said, prayer doesn't change things so much as it changes us for things. Let me put it this way. Prayer changes us so that we see things with a different frame. I've told you before and used the illustration often of the bird pictures I have in the church office. My parents had them in my childhood home, and even as a child, I thought these two pictures of birds were hideous. Many years later, my mother had those pictures reframed and rematted, and it made all the difference in the world. I have them in the church office to remind me to put my frame away and try to see things with God's frame. Prayer, getting in line with God, changes most of all me. Finally, Oswald Chambers may speak to the very heart of prayer, and perhaps his words come closest to what I hope for all of us in prayer. Our ordinary views of prayer are not found in the New Testament. We look upon prayer as a means for getting something for ourselves. The Bible idea of prayer is that we may get to know God Himself. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.